What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to State of the WWE, episode 101. Don't you feel old as shit listening to this show? If you started listening to this show since the first one, which I doubt, but it's possible. Somebody out there. Or like since 10 or 8 or 9. I don't know. The RYBACK interview is back up on YouTube if anybody was looking for that. It's called RYBACK. Calls Joe Cronin or something. Interview, I don't know. But I'm here with Jake DeMarco. We're going to talk about wrestling news that we don't... I don't know. There's a bunch of random wrestling stuff today. Dude, it's not as bad as the weekend. The weekend was abysmal. I thought I was the only one. On, like, Saturday, I made a video legit that just said, I don't know what the hell to talk about.
Yeah, there was no news at all this weekend. And it felt like there was a slight trickle Friday and then just nothing until pretty much last night.
I will say that I was on Twitter earlier, and it was funny because the other day, if you remember when Emma's entrance music changed... there was like such a backlash that CFO had to come out and be like, we did not make that theme. And people were like, what the fuck has happened to CFO or something?
Oh, yeah, there was an issue with CFO as well recently. Something about 2 of the members no longer being a part of the group or something.
Are you kidding me? That's what I said. I said,
yeah,
oh my God.
You just said that, and you made a prediction about them. You know, you were just kind of joking around, but you're like, something has to be up because this doesn't make sense. Let me try and pull that up now really quick.
Dude, that is so wild. I kind of made a joke that, you know, like a CFO or somebody in the music composers, like, they flipped out or something, and then WWE didn't want anything to do with them, so they started erasing people's themes that had anything to do with those people. And I started like conspiring, you know, conspiracy theories about that. And, you know, it would totally make sense if that's what was up. Or it would even make sense if, you know, somebody just left the group and that person might be good at writing. Like, and some people think like, oh no, it's still CFO, but it's not really, because look at the band Evanescence. The first Evanescence CD is great, and the Ben, I forget his name, Moody.
Ben Moody.
Yeah.
He was the one
Moody.
that wrote the entire thing.
He's a fucking genius, that guy.
Yeah. Once he left, you heard, you know, their follow-up album, like, you know, don't call me when I'm sober, and it was like, oh, this is not good at all.
It's like they're all the new songs by Evanescence are all too strung out and like
they're all
dreamy.
written by Amy Lee exclusively, you know, and she has a great voice for the, you know, the type of melodic melodies they produce, but the lyrics, the you know, the actual riffs and things like that were just, the timing, everything felt off. That first Evanescence CD I listened to nonstop on repeat. When I saw them live, they were friggin' phenomenal.
Yeah, it's too bad, dude. I always thought that was the biggest shame ever. Like,
I spent $700 to buy the amp in high school that Ben Moody had, because that's how much I liked his sound. I bought the Line 6 Spider 2 amp for my guitar.
Damn, I wasn't that into them, but holy shit.
Well, I'm telling you, that I love the type of like metal crunch they had for their guitar, and he developed like specific settings for the amp company, so you could, you know, sound exactly like he did on the album.
You know,
it was really cool.
He produced like a Celine Dion song or album, or he does all kinds of. He's worked with like big time singers and stuff. It's so crazy.
But he reminds me of you in a bit, because he's got like a you know, very business-centric mind, but he's also like a you know, dirty, funny bastard. He's very jokey, like, you know, he can always be like the one in a crowd to be entertaining. Like all of the mods and the guitar riffs that he named, like for Bring Me to Life, it was Bring Me Your Wife. So when you went ahead and you pulled it up on the digital keyboard for the amp, you know, if you wanted to play in that tone,
awesome.
Bring Me Your Wife, you know, things like that. It just...
Dude, that is so out of my playbook. That's so funny. Like, that's bizarre. That's like...
Yeah, it says right here, despite the success of their time during WWE, there have been multiple rumors linking to CFO having an exit from the company soon. Entrance themes are undoubtedly a major part of the wrestler, you know, tells in the ring, and ultimately deciding how they're received among fans. CFO have produced, you know, Rising Sun, the Glorious, you know, song for Bobby Roode, and you know, Nakamura's theme, things like that. So I go ahead and I you know, tip my hat to them, but they went ahead and they tweeted September 2nd that, you know, us leaving WWE is fake news, but apparently there's a lot of issues going on behind the scenes. So you were right about, you know, making that type of accusation.
Something is up. Okay, so something is up. Well, the other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, I think last night on Raw, Emma had a new theme again.
Yes, she did. It was a little bit better, too.
It was better. I thought about that. I went, wow, this actually sounds more like it has like a hook and it sounds better. And it still doesn't sound. I still just prefer to keep her old theme, but she went from like her theme that she had, which was like maybe like a 7 out of 10 theme, like good stuff, and then she went to like a 2 out of 10, just shit. And I think what she has, this new one, is like a 5 or 6 out of 10. But CFO tweeted out today, we did make Emma's new theme.
Oh, see, so that makes sense why it's a little bit better.
But it is still, I think, a little. I have to hear it a little bit more because it sounded like it got better as it went on, and
Yeah, I haven't found it on YouTube yet. Usually it's up like the day after. But
it's still not up to like where they've been. They've made some hits before, and they just. I'm like, why do they spend so much time and money on Emma? Like what? Like when they don't care about her? Like it makes no sense. Like they seemingly don't give a shit, but they spend all this time on her. Like. But
they use her a lot in house shows. She's definitely a big presence when they go to like the European tours and things like that.
I don't know. It's just so confusing, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know. CM Punk is real quick is maybe fighting in the MMA again soon. He's posting pictures with trainers and stuff. They're talking about working on stuff, and they're saying that he's going to fight in 2017. Which is...
Yeah, I had just read this. I mean, obviously he lost at 203, and it was a pretty telling loss. He got destroyed, couldn't do anything but stuff takedowns. But, we haven't, seen much of what else he's capable of in the octagon. So,
yeah.
His coach, Duke Rufus, posted a picture of CM Punk on Instagram saying he's currently training and awaiting a fight confirmation. So... He said, great Labor Day training with the Rufus Sport fight team. We are pleased to welcome lightweight Lebanese-Canadian John McDessie, and always a pleasure having CM Punk. Both of them are awaiting fight confirmation.
Well, I think it's going to happen at some point, but it's just like... I think it's clear to everybody. I think it should be clear now to everybody, it seems to me. Like, he just really doesn't want anything to do with wrestling ever again. He just wants to relax... hang out, train hard, try to do MMA again, and repeat. Like, whether he loses, wins, whatever, he just wants to try to do that. Because, and especially after this fight, like, if he, say he loses this fight, whatever, I'm curious to what he says after it, and with the lawsuits with him and Colt Cabana and the doctor and WWE and things like that, whether he comes back to WWE in the next year or 2 years, maybe no. And maybe he just doesn't care.
You hit the nail on the head in that sense, because the first loss could be looked at in a multitude of ways if you follow it up by a win. Because you could say it was nerves, even lack of experience. Maybe he even pulled, the angle they did with Goldberg.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he can win.
That, he underestimated his opponent.
But
there's 100 ways to break
he
it
won't
down.
win, though. I'm telling you, like, I don't know.
Oh, I don't think he has a shot in hell to win either, regardless of who he's going to fight, unless they set it up for him to win.
Yeah, they set it up with like some schlub. Like, they should put me. I'm telling you, they should put me in there with him. I'm not even kidding. Like, or put somebody like me in there with him, because he's not going to be able to beat anybody. He can't. Like, I wrestled in high school. Like, he can't. You can't stop somebody from grabbing his legs and a takedown. Like, he can't stop a takedown.
He can't stop takedowns at all, and his guard was
he needs
awkward.
He needs to be in a boxing match. You know what I mean? Like, he would be better in a boxing match because he wouldn't have to worry about someone taking his legs from him. I mean, that's his problem. He wants to stand up and maybe kick and punch somebody, and he really doesn't want to be taking people down. But he's pretty tough. Like, he took some heavy shots, man. I mean...
Oh, he took a lot of shots and didn't go down. I mean...
That's the one thing we can say is he's just like, his pain threshold and his toughness seems to be very high, but he just can't react fast enough. And it's not even, that's not like some crazy, anybody that watches, you can still look it up now. Just go watch all his training matches before the fight, and it's like every training session is the same thing. Wow, he can't seem to protect someone from going after his legs. And
absolutely,
the first thing that Mickey Gall does, pretty much, is goes right after his legs. I mean, right. He knew. So, like, it's like, if I knew, and you knew, and everybody seemed to know, Mickey Gall certainly knew, because he was locked in on taking his legs out from underneath him. And CM Punk
it was like a
locked
combo
in.
in a video game. Like he had it predetermined. He already entered the button combination, and he was just ready to go.
Yeah, it was like an NHL face-off where the other guy just pulls the stick back.
He knew what he wanted to accomplish. That was his fight plan, and his corner worked that out ahead of time. They said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go for the legs. He doesn't have a good guard. He can't stuff takedowns well. We're going to get him down, and we're going to pound him into the sand. And they did just that. They fried his ice.
And the thing is, too, is like Punk was looking for the punches and the kicks to the face. He was looking up at his head. Like, so, I mean, you couldn't have been any more opposite as to why the takedown was so easily done by Mickey Gall. But, you know, maybe fight someone your own age, too. Maybe fight someone who's like 35.
Yeah, that and someone who's not as hungry and have as much to prove.
Yeah,
you know?
this kid's starving.
This was huge for, Mickey Gall. And
what did he get? Didn't he get like $30,000 and that was it?
Something like that. It could have even been less, I think.
Oh.
But,
and Punk got like millions,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Punk got a great payoff for that. I can find out exactly how much, but Punk hasn't been in WWE since the Rumble, right? 2014 it was, or 2015. I'm trying to think when it was.
I feel like it's 14 now.
2014. My dates are all mixed up. But you figure his exit was more drawn out from the company with him not showing up, and then leading up to him getting his papers of release on his wedding day. And all the interviews, the backlash against the company, things like that, and especially at the point in time of everything going on with Daniel Bryan being eventually injured too. Like it was a hard pill to swallow for every fan of the company at that point. But I think a more prolific exit from the company would obviously be Bret Hart with the Montreal Screwjob, and he eventually came back to WWE. So every time I think, oh, look how much bad shit happened with Punk and Triple H and Vince, and you listen to the Colt Cabana infamous podcast and you hear all these things, you think about the lawsuit with the doctors and all these things. Other wrestlers have had it worse and have still returned. Goldberg left on bad terms. And
I definitely think he'll return. Like that's not even. I'm not worried about that. My point is like, will he return in the next couple of years, 3 years? Like that's where I want to see him return. But I just don't think he cares. I think he's kind of delusional at this point. But he's doing if he's doing what he loves, then cool. I guess it's just we're all just what's the word selfish. We're all selfish fans who want to see CM Punk back, so we're kind of gonna shit on his dream, I guess. Well, unfortunately for but I get that. So I get he's doing what he wants and stuff.
Yeah, Punk's salary was a flat $500,000 fee, meaning he wouldn't have received a win bonus had he defeated Gall. Gall earned $30,000, but only in victory, so that was his.
Okay.
So he had to win to get that. So
amazing. But I wonder what happened to Mickey Gall after that. I haven't really been paying attention to him.
I honestly am not sure either. He was so prolific at that point, and
prolific, dedicated.
he's. I know he's.
By the way, everybody tell Sean's I said to suck my dick. If you're listening right now, Sean, I got something for you bitch.
Joe Cronin said.
Come to Boston, Sean. You're 30 minutes away. You fuck. I'll shave your face. You penis face. Fuck. I'll shave your face, and then I'll abduct JD from New York, and I'll make you two fuck each other live on YouTube. That's right. The cat fucker and the fucking lying scumbag have sex with each other, and it'll be live on YouTube. You tell everybody I said that. Joe Cronin said so. Suck it.
Yeah, Mickey Gall won only. All right, it was one more fight, because I know I watched it, but it wasn't on a pay-per-view. It was a fight night. December 2016, so 3 months after beating Punk. And we haven't seen him this year, so we haven't seen him in 2017 yet. But he beat Sage Northcutt in a round 2 submission.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was going to say.
So he's 4-0 now.
His record's pretty good. Record. Like I feel like, why isn't he fighting? Why don't I hear about him more? It's like he like you said, he's 4-0.
Yeah.
Well.
I don't know. Maybe he's building towards a new fight. There's a lot of fighters that they have right now. Their roster is bigger than ever, and they've got so many weight classes and divisions that it's hard to keep track of everyone. So the good thing is, though, because they've got such a wide breadth of competition, that when people do fall out or get injured or fail drug testing, they always have somebody to replace them with. They're at a point now where they're not really ever, it feels like, at a true panic.
Well, it's the... All right.
Well, speaking of MMA, I was going to bring this up really quick.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey, of course, making a lot of headlines in WWE right now as well. obviously she was, the leading female champion in UFC, undefeated for quite some time. The queen of the armbar and Rowdy Ronda here. She was confronted with her, female 4 horsewoman pack, which
annoys the shit out of me, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it should be strictly Charlotte's. I was having a conversation with the other day, but as much as, I can see why she tried to corner the market on the name, it belongs to Charlotte. But she was confronted by Miss Flair herself, Bayley and Becky Lynch, at the Mae Young Classic. So it's almost certainly teasing a potential battle to come. WWE even shared the confrontation between the trio of women. You had Ronda, Marina, and Joesentme, and Charlotte, Bayley, and Becky all there, kind of chatting back and forth.
Oh God, they're gonna have them team up at WrestleMania. Oh my God,
it could be a 4-on-4. The 4
horsewomen kill myself.
Versus 4 horsewomen. But I don't think it'll come to that. I think it's gonna be Rousey versus Flair. I mean, it really feels like it's only a matter of time before Rousey jumps from MMA to WWE. She hasn't fought since she lost.
Who's the girl in the Mae Young tournament that's really good? The MMA girl. She was pretty good.
Shayna
Baszler, yeah,
she's the one that they're supporting.
Oh, absolutely. I saw the. I mean, we don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She's one of the 4 horsewomen, so.
She's pretty good. I'm sort of tired of the whole MMA thing in a way, but she was really good in the Mae Young Classic. But it's sort of the way they built her that made her that good. But whatever, I don't know. She's all right though. But I think she might be a guy. But
but this is definitely WWE's way to plant the seeds, at least as a backup idea for WrestleMania 34. If they have nothing to fall back on, then bam, they can go right to this well, and it'll definitely sell. We know that Ronda Rousey's name is not as big as it was, but it still is a hot commodity. She still brings press with her. So,
did you see the thing about Enzo having heat at 205 Live or whatever now?
Yeah. Really quick before we get into that, Nikki Bella even said she wanted to fight Ronda Rousey. She went ahead and said to TMZ Sports, she said, "Bring on Ronda Rousey. I'd love to fight her." Because TMZ, they kind of cornered, as they do, Nikki Bella, and they thought, they asked her, how do you feel about Rousey's possible transition from MMA to wrestling? She says, I don't know. I'd like to see her, make her transition. And she said, you always get afraid in the ring, so I'd love to see, my chance to face her. So that'd be cool, too,
you
if
could
Rousey did become a women's wrestler.
You could put her in the... You could have the women's the WWE Championship, the women's matches at WrestleMania, and then you could have Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, and then you could have the 4 horsewomen of whatever the fuck MMA ones jump the guardrail and beating up Nikki Bella, and then you could have the actual, even if they're all, it doesn't matter who's a heel, face, whatever, and have Sasha and Charlotte and all them show up, then confront them, and, after Sasha and them had their matches already that night. And that would be a pretty thing, to have them all stand in the ring, and then the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania is the 4 horsewoman match with each other.
Yeah, that would be cool. Payback or Backlash, whatever comes following. That's a great idea.
That's exactly how I would draw that up. I mean, you get publicity, you get Nikki Bella and Ronda. That way you don't waste. In WWE's mind, they wouldn't call Sasha Banks or Charlotte a waste against Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. I will, because I think they need to still build something here, build the legacy up with even Charlotte. She needs to get back to
she needs to become another top contender, because right now she's pretty much fallen to the wayside. So
how much time you got left?
I got another 15 minutes, roughly, a little more. So as you were saying, Enzo Amore, he's just bad blood. He's toxic everywhere he
annoyed me last night.
He annoyed the piss out of me. And as I had said on your Raw review, I was at one point in time such a big fan of him and Cass, especially in the NXT days. They were just 2 hard-working, good guys that, they felt like, the everyday man that you wanted to see them succeed.
Tutti
Mr.
Frutti
Brooklyn.
and Fruity Looty.
Yeah, and he was great on the mic. Cass backed it up in the ring, and it worked well. Well, now... with him, first off, they were pissed at him with all the, the old antics, bringing in the strippers, getting thrown off the bus. They were really mad at him for showboating and flaunting his stuff at the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight this weekend, and all the antics he said against Conor.
Yeah.
Especially with WWE trying to work Conor into the company still, so they feel like that's disrespectful. His move to 205 Live, it's been popular with fans, but not backstage. Daivari went ahead and made a public statement saying that Enzo's someone that, when it's all said and done, is going to be inconsequential to this division. They said that he's a hot act, and then, or in a hot act. Then once they split up the hot act, the partner got injured, talking about Cass. Well, what are we going to do with him? They'll put him in 205 Live. And if it looks like it's not a good fit, what are they going to do next? They'll put him on SmackDown. Like, he'll just keep going from spot to spot. So they're saying that his time on 205 Live is going to be short. He's already ruffling feathers, talking down to guys on the roster, saying that he's better than them.
Right.
You know, even if he is too much flippy-dippy, you can't even do the flippy-dippy stuff or the basic stuff they told him. You're the worst wrestler on the fucking card, Daivari said.
Wow. I mean,
that's a huge statement.
I mean, it's true. But if I was, I mean, like, you know, because, I mean, really, he is a circus act for them. Like, he's another way for 205 Live to be able to be like, hey, you know, we don't know how to market this shit the right way, so let's just throw Enzo over there since we don't like him. I just knocked my microphone stand off the hinges.
Oh, no.
So I agree with him, but at the same time, you know, maybe you should have some respect because this guy, this guy got over for the whole universe, and you're fucking not over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Enzo, you know, he just doesn't seem to have any sort of respect for anyone but himself, and that's the problem.
Daivari doesn't have, fucking fixing my mic. Daivari doesn't have respect either, though. You know.
I think he would have, but he got sick of being talked down to, so he should have kept his mouth shut. He shouldn't have made a public statement like that, but. And they're even giving Enzo a new finisher. They're trying to repackage him as an official cruiserweight wrestler. But even there, it just, like, you know, originally we said, send him to 205 Live. But it just seeing him in action, he's too slow compared to the guys. It doesn't seem like a great fit yet again.
Go back and listen to any time someone brought that up. I never wanted him on 205 Live.
Yeah, you were always against it. I was for it.
Because I mean, like, what's he gonna do? I mean, I think it's a good idea because, like, okay, let me get this set up so this doesn't rattle anymore. Okay, clearly that didn't work. I think it's a good idea for marketing, but if it was an honest idea, like, hey, you know, let's use Enzo to cross over to 205 Live. You know, he'll be there for a while, and then, you know, we can move him back, you know, to the main roster eventually, quickly, you know, at some point. And if you tell the whole 205 Live crew, hey, we're going to bring this guy over to help sort of cross people over so they can see what you guys are doing. Like, but I feel like they just threw him over there. They didn't really say much, and nobody really knows what's going on. And they were just thought it was a way to increase the 205 Live viewership on the network and stuff like that, and get maybe some younger kids who love Enzo. I mean, think about it, right? All the hardcores have the network mostly. But a lot of these kids, the casuals, a lot of those guys are the ones that don't have the network, or their network ran out, or they're going to beg their parents. It's a way to push kids to ask their parents. Because Enzo's over with so many kids and everybody that it's like, oh my God, I want to see Enzo Amore. Mom and Dad, I got to get the network to watch this 205 Live thing. And it's like they would have never thought maybe about watching it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean...
So marketing, it's a smart idea.
The market that he is cornering, like you said, doesn't have a never mind a right to vote, but a wallet to pay for the network. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with him going forward. But it's amusing to hear how he's just a shit magnet for heat wherever he goes. And speaking of heat magnets, you know, you also brought up before that Baron Corbin again causing problems backstage. You know, we heard just this past weekend Dave Meltzer saying that Corbin's stop push had nothing to do with John Cena, who always is a prime target for being accused of burying up Calvin talent. It was an entirely different situation outside the ring that happened a while ago, and it led to Corbin's basically demise, which makes sense. But I guess now with him running his mouth and causing problems backstage yet again, they're souring on him because they were going to give him a chance to work with AJ Styles for the U.S. title. So I guess the feud will continue, but his chances of winning just went out the window.
He's really highly opinionated with stuff. He's kind of a dick, and the fact of the matter is he didn't work on the indies. Like, so to me, like, that just angers me right away. And I know you say, you know, and I'm not going to say he didn't work for it because that's That's dumb because, I mean, he went through his football career. He's been working since day one to be whether a football player or an athlete and then in the WWE. So my thing is that this was his second love. And you could say that about The Rock too, obviously. But the wrestling was still in The Rock's blood. And he tried to be a football player. And then he started wrestling, but he seemed to put his all into the wrestling. Like, he seemed to put everything into it. Baron Corbin still has that feeling of, like, I'm just here because I'm Baron Corbin. And, not being on the indies and stuff like that, it just feels like, and for him to, like, speak out of turn, it sounds like, or to whatever in this meeting that he was being accused of.
Well, this meeting was a concussion, basically, like almost like a seminar. Happened in August. It was with Dr. Joseph Maroon. He'd been brought in to talk with the entire roster about the importance of concussion-related injuries and why talent should immediately report injuries to the officials. He brought up a recent study on deceased NFL players who had been diagnosed with, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE post-mortem. That's what, Benoit had suffered from as well. And the way Maroon talked about the study reportedly downplayed it as being a solid proof that anyone who played football would then develop CTE. And since Corbin played college football and briefly was in the NFL from 2009 to 2011, he cut Maroon off and basically challenged the doctor. Multiple sources noted to PW Insider that Corbin argued that there would always be some form of head trauma, and he just got off and got, in a bad way here. And there was a lot of talent that, were impressed with him speaking out, but there was more officials that were upset that he spoke out and challenged the doctor. So
it just seemed like it was one of those things where, like, you're not supposed to really speak. Just take this information for what it's worth, and you can decide what you think of it later or whatever. But he decided to be like, no,
it feels like Vince and a lot of the people in the back, they come from that, the old school mindset of, do as you're told, don't ask questions, we know what's best for you. Yeah. And anyone that challenges that certainly gets cut down to size quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'm sorry about the rattling, guys. I'm rattling the microphone. Even Jake's mic sounds funny, but mine is all rattly everywhere. Like, this has been the rattly episode of State of the WWE, but it's okay. That's what we're dealing with.
It's not a tech-savvy day for us.
Yeah, but hey, we did something. I got to get out of here myself, too, so I suppose we can wrap it up here. Yeah,
absolutely. Last thing I wanted to bring up was quickly the fans gave Big Show a standing ovation last night, and as we said, as much as we shit on him with get off my TV and we said like that, he's been in the business a long time and he's still relevant. He's still out there wrestling, whether he's fully entertaining. I don't know if he ever truly hit his stride, but I give him 110% credit for what he went through and what he endured last night. So.
Yeah, he's hung around, and like I said in the Raw review, that it paid off almost. Like, we had 3 or 4 years, sufferable years with Big Show, but last night it was just pretty good. It's their worst match they've had, but it still was the top 3 things of Raw. But Raw was not good last night, so let's face it there.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't a fatal 4-way, announcement for the women's title.
Guys, thanks so much for listening to State of the WWE episode 101. Feel free to go back and listen to all 100 episodes of it. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the news. Hit up Jake DeMarco on Twitter at CountdownEnded. Hit me up on my new Twitter account at Real Joe Cronin. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll try to follow you guys back as best I can at Real Joe Cronin on Twitter, guys. Hit that sub button down below if you're new. And for all you patrons, all the bonus content is up right now on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. All right, we'll see you next time.